The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon from the office of the EU SME Sector in Beijing, and good morning for those of you in Europe. This is Annabelle Gaywood working at CBBC, the China-Britain Business Council, one of the implementing partners of the EU SME Sector. I would like to introduce my colleagues Tian, consultant for the food and drink sector, and Aideen Cleary, Trade Services Manager. Anna will first present the alcoholic drinks market in China, followed by answers to your questions. At this point, I would like to mention two forthcoming reports, the overview of the alcoholic drinks market and import regulations and guidelines for alcoholic drinks. These will be published on the EU SME Sector and CBBC websites in the coming months. At any time, you may ask your questions via the webinar system, which will be answered at the end of the presentation. If you feel that any of your questions require more information or a further response, please feel free to register on the EU SME Sector website to submit your question. I will now hand over to Tian.
Okay. Thanks very much for Annabelle's introduction. This is Tian, a consultant at China-Britain Business Council. I'm mainly focused on food and beverage sector to help international companies do business in China. It's my great pleasure to be here and make today's presentation. Before I start, I would like to introduce EU SME Center. Okay. EU SME Center is an EU Commission-funded project which helps EU SMEs prepare to do business in China by providing them with information, advice, training, and support service. As Annabelle mentioned, I also would like to remind you, you can submit your questions using the question panel as shown in the left chart. And also you can answer your questions at the question and answer session at the end. Okay, let's move to today's agenda. When I ask foreigners' opinion about China, they all get back to me. China is such a big market with valuable opportunities. Yes, China is the biggest consumer of alcoholic drinks in the world and attracts numerous beer and spirits brands exported to China. Today's webinar will introduce beer market and the spirits market firstly, and then go through retail channels and entry models. At the end, main opportunities and challenges will be discussed, and then some feasible suggestions will be provided. Okay, then we move to the chapter 1, beer market overview. Before we go depth into beer market, I would like to clarify the definition of alcoholic drinks in China. According to the national standards, an alcoholic beverage is a drink which contains more than 0.5% of alcohol by volume. As you can see from the following table, it's composed of three main segments, including fermented alcoholic beverage, distilled spirits, and also blended alcoholic beverages. Beer and spirits, which are highlighted in yellow, are main segments included in today's presentation. After you understand the definition of alcoholic drinks, you may also be interested in their tariff and tax. As you all know, China became a member of the World Trade Organization in 2001, Since then, it applied a most favored nation policy to European countries. With the result, European companies can enjoy the minimum tariff rate, as shown in the following table. Tariff for most alcoholic beverages is around 10%, but there are some exceptions, such as beer, sparkling wine, and warm malt. Beer is the only alcoholic beverage that has a zero tariff, but warm malt has the highest tariff rate at 65%. Then we move to beer market size. Over the past decade, China's beer production and sales volume increased steadily. Taking for example, from the left table, you can see its beer production volume increased from less than 30 million kiloliters in 2004 to nearly 50 million kiloliters in 2014. And in 2011, China replaced America as the biggest alcoholic drinks market in the world. The beer market is reaching maturity, and as a result, its growth rate is slowing. But it's estimated China beer market will keep increase in the near future due to two main reasons. The first one is increased number of urban residents and the rise of the middle class. As you can see from the following chart, you can find per capita income and spending on food and beverage products increased from 90 euro in 1990 to over 800 euro in 2013. With the increase in income, people will spend more on alcoholic drinks. The second reason is Chinese government's anti-corruption campaign. As for the second reason, you may all know Chinese government's anti-corruption campaign, which was adopted in December 2012 to control overspending on official receptions. The campaign had a large impact on high-end alcoholic drinks market. For example, top Chinese spirits brand Wuliangye, its net profits decreased by over 20% in 2014. However, cheaper beverages, such as beer, they will continue to fill in the gap. Okay, then we move to the beer export to China slide. In contrast to stable growth of Chinese domestic beer market, imports of beer increased rapidly from under 100,000 kiloliters in 2011 to over 500,000 kiloliters last year. As you can see from these two charts, Germany, Netherlands, and Belgium are top 3 EU countries exporting beer to China. Germany was the top 1 EU export, which exported over 100 million euro worth of the beer to China last year. As mentioned, Germany is the largest exporter of beer to China. But the China beer market is still dominated by 4 localized brands, including Snow Beer, Qingdao Beer, Budweiser, and Yanjing Beer. As you can see from the following chart, Snow Beer was top 1 player with total sales volume of over 100 million kiloliters in 2014, followed by Qingdao Beer. Beer is widely accepted by both males and females in China. who have a wide range of ages, from 18 years old to 60. Drinkers who are below 20 years old, they have the lowest brand loyalty, and they likely try new tastes and brands. However, people who are over 60 years old have the highest level of brand loyalty. In terms of region, Eastern and Southern region are the two major markets for beer, accounting for 35% and 27.1% respectively of the national beer market. Okay, they are all for China beer market overview. Then we will introduce China spirits market. From 2009 to 2012, China's spirits market sales value saw dramatic increase from over 24 billion euro to nearly 60 billion euro. But due to anti-corruption campaign, which we already mentioned, the growth rate dropped quickly from 28% in 2012 to nearly 13% in 2013. All these changes can be found from the left chart. China's spirits market is dominated by Chinese traditional spirits called Baijiu. Baijiu is a Chinese distilled alcoholic beverage and mainly made from grain. Baijiu's share has increased a little bit from less than 95% in 2009 to nearly 97% in 2014. The increase of Baijiu was mainly due to its wide price range, from less than €1 per 500 milliliters to €100. However, imported spirits mainly focus on high-end market. It's expected China's spirits sector will continue to grow, with the sales value reach €122 billion. There are three main reasons. The first one is increasing urban residents. Second one is increasing disposable income. And the third one is health concerns. Since the first two reasons are already mentioned, here I will focus on health concern. Chinese consumers pay increasing attention to a healthy lifestyle. Due to the negative perception about high alcohol by volume spirits, in particular Baijiu, Chinese consumers are encouraged to consume less Baijiu. Therefore, there is a potential market for EU SMEs imported spirit brands. The import volume of spirits has experienced the same performance with domestic spirits market. As you can see from the left chart, the import volume decreased between 2012 and 2014. However, there was a recovery in 2015, mainly due to more medium-end spirits are imported to China. Among all imported spirits, brandy was the most popular segment, accounting for 47% of total imported volume, followed by whiskey. However, the right chart indicates brandy and whiskey declined by 10% and 7% respectively during the past 5 years. Other niche beverages such as vodka, liquor increased. This change are mainly due to the cheaper price of the vodka and liquor, and also more young people they drinking vodka and liquor outside the home, such as at pubs, clubs, and Western restaurants to socialize. As mentioned, brandy and whiskey are top two spirits exported to China. In this slide, I will introduce these two segments firstly. As indicated in left table, last year, France was the top exporter of brandy to China, exporting nearly 26 million liters and about 550 million euro to China. As for whiskey, China's imported whiskey market is dominated by UK, accounting for nearly 85% and over 87% of total imported volume and value in last year. In contrast to rapid decrease of imported brandy and whiskey, imported vodka and gin's performance is much more satisfying. Surprisingly, Sweden, US, and UK were the top three exporters of vodka rather than Russia. As for gin, UK was China's largest supplier, accounting for over 95% and 82% of imported volume and value last year. Local Baijiu brands have strong brand awareness in both high-end and low-end market. The top 5 Baijiu brands are listed in left table, with Moutai ranked in the first place. It's also interesting to know imported spirits market is also high concentrated, with the top 5 brands accounting for over 60% of imported spirits market. For imported spirits, a number of the brands are sold on Chinese e-commerce platforms. The right table is a list of top 5 imported spirits sold on JD.com. JD.com is a major food and drink online platform in China. So unlike beer, which is very popular among all kinds of the customers in China, young middle-class consumers in Tier 1 cities, such as Beijing and Shanghai, are the major consumers of imported spirits. Young middle-class consumers, they prefer more affordable and trendy spirits rather than more expensive spirits. Stronger spirits such as Baijiu, whiskey, and brandy, they are popular with men. However, liquor has seen strong growth largely due to its appeal to female consumers. The lower alcohol content and sweet taste of flavored liqueurs have become popular with female consumers in their 20s and 30s. Here is an example, which was conducted by Mantel in 2014. They found among over 1,000 interviewees, more than 41% of females in first and third tier cities were drinking imported spirits. So as EU SMEs, if you have a plan to enter Chinese market, you need to understand China retail channels and then decide to take which entry models. Therefore, the Chapter 3 will mainly focus on retail channel and entry models. In China, sales of alcoholic drinks to consumers are mainly sold through on-trade and off-trade channels. On-trade channels include hotels, restaurants, clubs, bars. Off-trade channels include hypermarkets, supermarkets, premium food stores, convenience stores, and also independent retailers. Taking for example, please look at the right chart. In 2014, in the Chinese alcoholic drinks market, hypermarkets and supermarkets are mainly retail channels, accounting for 37.7% share of the total market value, followed by independent stores and on-trade channels. I believe you are all very familiar with hypermarkets and supermarkets. Here I would like to introduce independent stores. Independent stores are small retail stores that focus on selling a particular product range and also some items. Taking for example, China leading Baijiu brand Moutai, it has more than 1,000 independent stores across China. Although there is no public data available, we believe with the increasing importance of e-commerce, alcoholic drinks sold online will increase rapidly. Just for your reference, the number of Chinese international users reached nearly 680 million last year. Okay, after you understand the Chinese beer, spirits market, and also retail channel, you may have a question: how to enter China market? In the short term, you can consider to work with local partners to make good use of their established distributional network and also learn experience and knowledge from them. After you are familiar with China market and already develop your brand awareness in China, you may consider setting up a wholly foreign-owned enterprise and representative office. Meanwhile, as mentioned before, considering importance role of e-commerce platforms, you also can consider sell your products online. From the following table, it includes some leading alcoholic drinks e-commerce platforms. Just click on their website. You can go and to check each e-commerce platform's website. Then the chapter 4 will introduce like the main opportunities and the challenges for international or EU SME alcoholic drinks companies brands. China's increasing urbanization and increasing disposable incomes provide valuable opportunities for EU SME alcoholic drinks. The main opportunity rises from Chinese consumers' increasing attention to healthy lifestyle, the rise of mid-range brands, an increase in alcohol consumption outside the home, and demographic changes in China's alcoholic beverage market. Since the first two factors are already mentioned, here I will focus on the last two factors. Regarding an increase in alcohol consumption outside the home, with the rising disposable incomes, more Chinese consumers, they are willing to drink outside the home, to socialize with their friends. This has led to the development of more bars, pubs, and also Western restaurants around the country. With the result, more imported beers and spirits will be consumed in such channels. Regarding the last opportunity, demographic changes in China's alcoholic beverage market. In recent years, China's alcoholic drinks market has seen a shift in the demographic of its consumers. Before, men were the main consumers. However, with a more social and professional drinking environment emerging in China, women and young consumers are increasingly consume more alcoholic drinks. As well as opportunities, before entering the Chinese market, EU SMEs also need to take into consideration the following challenges, including legal and regulatory challenges, market barriers, and also operational barriers. Regarding the legal and regulatory challenges, in order to enter China market, EU SMEs product must meet with numerous regulations. Some regulations are not transparent, and furthermore, local officials may have different understanding and explanations. As a result, EU SMEs may take a quite long time to pass through important procedures. But as mentioned by Annabelle, there is another report about new guideline in China alcoholic drinks market will be published in the coming months, which will help EU SMEs to understand legal environment in China. So for the market barriers, it mainly include like Chinese consumers' preference to to traditional alcoholic drinks like beer and Baijiu, and also the high concentration of the beer and the spirits market as mentioned. Operational barriers include lack of accurate information about China's market, inability to predict consumers' demand, and also for international players, their lack of experience of managing complex global value chain. So based on aforementioned information and analysis, and also challenges, opportunities, the following suggestions are provided in order to help EU SMEs enter Chinese market. It includes understanding diversity of China, finding a local partner, in-market visit, building brand awareness, and also use of social media. So we will go through the suggestions one by one. The first one, understanding diversity of China. As mentioned, China is not a single market. It's diverse and fragmented. EU SMEs should carefully consider conducting market research before entering Chinese market in order to better understand regional difference, Chinese consumers' opinions and attitude to international alcoholic beverages. The second one, finding a local partner. When an EU SME decides to enter the Chinese market, it should carefully consider its market entry model to identify which one will be more useful for short-term and long-term growth. Many SMEs, which are new to the market, they normally choose to work with Chinese distributors or agents to make good use of their counterpartners' distributional network. So EU SMEs, if they choose this entry model, they should using the following criteria, like whether the potential partner they have established reputation in the alcoholic beverage industry, whether potential partner has the ability to provide service to ensure customers are satisfied, whether potential partners are familiar with working with international brands and business, whether potential partners they have experienced and professional sales staff, And also, how about potential partners' sales power, such as their sales revenue, their distributional network? So the third suggestion is in-market visit. Visiting the market is extremely important for EU SMEs to get understand their competitors and also Chinese consumers. As mentioned, China is so big and diverse, so choosing the right city and region to visit is very important. Taking for example, if you are a beer brand, considering the important role of the eastern and the southern China, so EU SMEs can consider visiting like Qingdao in Shandong province and Guangzhou in Guangdong province to understand their competitors and also local consumers. For Western spirits brands, since 70 to 80% of medium to low-end imported spirits are sold in nightclubs, so visiting to nightclubs is suggested. So you can just go there and look at menus and to identify what drinks are popular with Chinese consumers. Premium food stores are also important sales channel for imported producers in China. And also, meeting with your potential partners during a visit is also very key. The following should be considered before and during the meetings with potential partners, such as your short-term and long-term strategies and objectives, your marketing and promotional strategy in China, your payment methods and terms, your pricing and margins strategy, your targets in China. The fourth suggestion is marketing and building brand awareness. For EU SMEs and also for all the international new players, when they enter Chinese market, one of the key market entry challenges in China is these new players' low brand awareness in China. So EU SMEs can work with like your importers, distributors, retailers to promote your products in China. You also can work with industry association or other association to promote alcoholic drinks in China. And also, you can promote alcoholic drinks within supermarkets, hotels, clubs, and bars. The last suggestion is using of social media. Social media has played an increasing role in brand awareness and advertisement in China. Although traditional forms of marketing, such as television, newspapers, and magazines are still a popular and effective way of advertising, social media has emerged as a new powerful marketing tool to gain customers. Here is just a reference for you. The number of the mobile internet users reached about 980 million in January this year. Considering the importance of the social media, EU SMEs should consider using social media platforms such as Xinlang Weibo and WeChat to introduce your products to customers. Okay, there is the general introduction to the China alcoholic drinks market. So thanks very much for your attention and listening. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Hi Anna, my name is Aideen Cleary.
Yeah.
I'm from the China-Britain Business Council.
Thanks,
I've been
Aideen.
looking at the questions coming through, and we do have quite a number coming through for you.
Okay.
So regarding imported beer, do you have any subdivision of features and volumes for specialty beers versus lagers? And what are the opportunities for specialty beers in China? So for example, craft beers are becoming highly popular in China, and a number of local breweries have actually opened up, especially in Beijing and Shanghai. So do you think that's an opportunity for EU SMEs in the Chinese market?
Yeah, I also read from some articles. There are some potential opportunities for craft beer, and also I would like to introduce more in my report. But when
It's been lost. Okay.
okay,
Sorry. We're just having some technical issues here.
okay, so shall I continue?
Yes.
Yes. But I mean, when I look at the China public data, there are not so many public available data available. But I mean, if you are interested in this kind of the segment or product, you can let us know. We can find what kind of information we can provide for you.
Okay, thank you, Anna. So if you want to find out more information about specialty beers and lagers, please log on to the EU SME Centre's website and place your question, and then the EU SME Centre can forward that question to us, and we might be able to provide you with some more information. So Anna, what are the reasons for the low consumption of gin in China? So I'm aware, because I've done some previous research into this area myself, that they're not in supermarkets, there's not many actually gin products available, and gin is actually primarily consumed within bars.
Yeah.
Gin and tonic, it's not actually, which I guess is the drink that most people drink gin with, it's not actually that popular in China. Maybe it's because of the taste. People haven't acquired a taste for it.
Yeah.
And I think Chinese consumers, from what I see in bars and clubs, they prefer fancy drinks, mojitos, large cocktails. So that could be one of the reasons behind that, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, some more questions. So the price of Bailey's that you showed is actually relatively low. Would that reflect a price of renminbi 86, and is that the average price? I've actually just looked on Jingdong myself. The average price of a 700 milliliter bottle of Bailey's is actually 69 kwai to 99 kwai, which is relatively cheap.
Yeah.
I'm from Ireland, and obviously Bailey's is from Ireland, and it's a lot dearer and a lot more expensive in Ireland. I guess one of the reasons why it is cheaper is because if you work with an e-commerce platform, you cut down on costs when you're working, I guess, directly with a supermarket. So that's one of the reasons why Bailey's is actually cheaper on a lot of the e-commerce platforms.
And also, I mean, for the imported alcoholic beverage, normally if you sell your products through the supermarket and also premium food store, the price is much higher than the products sold online. Like it's about 30 to 50% higher than the products sold online.
Okay, great. Thanks, Anna. So one of our listeners is asking about cider. Do we have any information on the market, the classification, the tariffs? I'm guessing we don't have any information on the classification and the tariffs to hand, but we can provide that if it's required.
Yeah.
So do you have a further understanding about the market for cider in China? I know Xi Jinping was recently in the UK, and he was drinking some British beers, and I'm sure ciders were also on sale. So do you think that will help the sales of cider in China?
And also I worked for one British company. Yeah, it's just like one cider company, and also did some research for this cider company. And when they went to the different regions like Qingdao and also Shanghai, Beijing to test Chinese consumers' acceptance to the cider taste, it is not very welcomed and also popular, and the comments from the Chinese consumers are not very positive. So this is also another reason I think the cider is not very now the cider is not very popular in China.
Okay, great, thank you. And then another question is there a list available of potential importers or distribution partners for major eastern cities?
Yes, we have. I mean, as mentioned by Annabelle, CBBC always help like international companies to enter Chinese, especially to find the distributors, partners for them. Yes, we have the list for the potential local importer.
Okay, so I guess a major challenge in China sometimes can be a communication issue. So what suggestions would you provide to EU SMEs that want to enter the Chinese market and work with a distribution partner in China? I guess one of the key areas you mentioned is obviously visiting the Chinese market,
Yeah.
and I guess regular communications. But what other advice would you suggest to EU SMEs?
I think already, yeah, like the suggestions I already mentioned in my PPTs. I think, I mean, when you're the first time you meet with your potential Chinese partners, it's important for you to make a very good, I mean, the preparation, like you bring your samples to here, and also you prepare the presentation to your partners. And also you need to understand what's your strategies.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so what are the best wine fairs in China for a new Italian brand?
Sorry?
What are the best wine fairs in China for new Italian brands?
Wine fairs in
Yes.
China for you.
I guess one of the biggest and largest food and beverage shows in China is the FHC, which happens in November in Shanghai every year.
Yeah.
And recently there was a SIAL, which recently took place in Shanghai also.
And also apart from these two, we also have the China International Wine Industry Expo, which will be held in the beginning of May.
Held last week.
Yeah. And also another one is is the 12th China Hunan Food and Drinks Fair. It will open in the beginning of June, followed by China Beijing International Wine and Spirits Exhibition. All these exhibitions can be found from the alcoholic drinks markets in China report.
If you want these specific names, as I said, just maybe register on the EU SME Centre's website and drop in a question, and then we can send you more information. Okay. Somebody's looking for specific figures regarding the Chinese wine market and sparkling wine market. We don't have that to hand, but if you want more information, then maybe we can try and send it to you a little later if we have it.
Yeah. I want to explain here. I mean, as you all know, in today's webinar, we only cover beer and spirits. The reason for us is because, I mean, EU SMEs already published one wine market research, I think in the last year. So if you have the interest in wine market in China, you can log on to the EU SME website to find that report. It will be helpful.
Okay, great. So what do you think is the best strategy to attract Chinese traditional liquor drinkers to wine instead? How to capture their attention? What are their major concerns regarding wine? And what are the major barriers preventing them from making the switch to wine? I guess one thing to observe here is that the wine market, after the anti-corruption policy, imports actually fell quite a lot. They have actually in recent years been increasing again, the imports of wine. One thing to consider about China is the wine market wine is traditionally grown in China also, red wine. And red wine is a very popular drink in China. It's white wine is less popular here. So there is actually a lot of competition in the Chinese market regarding wine. And Chinese brands are actually relatively cheaper compared to imported wine.
Yeah.
So I think there are some of the market entry issues. Regarding how to attract Chinese consumers away from red wine or away from Baijiu, I'm not sure on that. Anna, do you have any suggestions? Okay. Okay, maybe we'll be able to provide you with some suggestions about that a little bit later. So a lot of people are actually asking questions about parallel importing. Do you have any views on this? So importing via Hong Kong, or
Okay.
so do many brands import via Hong Kong, or do they import directly into the Chinese market?
Based on my understanding, some of them they choose imported from Hong Kong because they will take less time than if you directly export to China market.
Okay. So, and I guess a big concern about China, and somebody's just asked the question regarding counterfeit spirits in China, which is a common occurrence here. You can go into bars and you can clearly taste that your alcoholic beverage is a counterfeit beverage. So are the Chinese government acting on that a lot more? Are there new regulations in place, or are there any plans? What are the regulations in place? Okay, I know recently the police have been cracking down on it. There have been a number of reports of cracking down. I think particularly in wine, there's been a lot of instances of counterfeit wine, and the Chinese government do act on it, but it is still an issue here in China. Okay, so if you do have any further questions, please feel free to put them into the questions section. Okay, so we have more people looking for a list of potential partners. So we might be able to send that on to people. As I said, please register on the EU SME Centre's website and place your question. And then we'll be able to provide you with further details if required. So somebody's asked the question, if Chinese like apple cider, why do they not like cider? Or apple vinegar, why do they not like cider? I guess it's people's perceived tastes that cider is actually quite a new drink in China, and many consumers aren't aware of it and probably have never actually tried cider. I guess that's one of the reasons behind that.
And also cider. Cider is not the new products in China.
Okay.
Yeah, back to like 1990s, there are several cider producers in China, such as some producer in Qingdao. I met some of them last year. But I mean, because of the people's awareness about cider, it's not very strong, and a lack of the right market promotion strategy. So the cider producers, they just lost their market share. So now there are not so many cider companies or brands are available in China.
Okay, thank you, Hannah. So in general, if a EU SME wants to enter China, what are the best regions for them to decide to look at, to try and find a partner?
I think, I mean, it will decide based on like your products. Like if you are, as mentioned, if you produce like beer and want to export beer to China, I suggest that you go to like South region and also Eastern region of China. But if you want to export your West spirits to China, as mentioned, Beijing, Shanghai, the first tier 1 cities is still the potential market. So I suggest you go to the tier 1 city for this.
Okay, just to explain that Chinese cities are, if you're not aware, that Chinese cities are divided into tiers, depending on their GDP, their cultural relevance. So Beijing and Shanghai are first-tier cities.
Yes.
Second-tier cities include, I guess, Chengdu.
Yeah.
Sometimes or often or not, Guangzhou and Shenzhen
Guangzhou,
can be classified as first-tier or second-tier, depending on who you talk to. But obviously, first or second-tier cities and third-tier cities, e-commerce platforms are becoming such a big thing, or such a big way of purchasing products within China. So the market in those cities are growing and are developing. So that will be definitely an opportunity for EU SMEs that are wanting to enter the market.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, that's all the questions we have so far. If you want to add some more questions, please feel free to add them in. Oh, we've just had a question about whiskey. So let's just see if that comes up. Okay, so somebody's interested in distributing their whiskey product in China, and they're looking for some potential distributors that work and supply independent stores. So as we said, if we have a list of distributors, then we'll be able to send them to participants. Okay. Okay. So if there are no more questions at this stage, then maybe we can end the webinar.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have any more questions, please, as I said, please feel free to log on to the EU SME Centre website and register, and please place your question online, and the EU SME Centre will direct them towards the China-Britain Business Council. Okay, thank you for listening.
Thank you.